Welcome to my channel, guys. Okay, we're gonna get this lockdown 2020 COVID-19 on the road. We're gonna take our first flight. We're gonna visit our first city on one of my vacation tours. This came about, now we're gonna do it by way of postcard. Washington, D.C. And then because I had to get to Washington, D.C., I went through Baltimore. Now I had gone to Baltimore before to visit family. So this here came about when, I don't know, probably the whole world, oh, and by way of hat. This is the only thing that's left. I wore that hat out. So I'm going to put on this hat. And then you'll hear the story behind the hat. But we're going to Washington, D.C. Now the Washington, D.C. trip came about. I don't know, the whole world was watching in 2008. When the possibility of the first black man to become president. So on November 4th, 2008, he won. And he became the 44th President of the United States, Mr. Barack Obama. So everybody that had a passport wanted to get to Washington. I was fortunate that like I said, I had family in Baltimore, so we made it a trip because we decided we were going to go, and it was January 20th, 2009. So that was my vacation for 2009. It also was a trip for my father because his birthday is on the 19th. So it's all in one. At that time, I was like a real daddy's girl. Now, as you can see, I was still printing photos on pics. Some people may not know what these were, but yeah, I'm a 60s baby, so we still did hard copies. Okay, but one of the unique things that happened, we went all out. We had on shirts, and I had a shirt that said I had a dream, Martin Luther King, and then there was a shirt that said, at the bottom it said, I am the dream, which was supposed to be Barack Obama. And then this gentleman said to me, a U.S. citizen, he said, that's not how it went. And so then I decided that, okay, I'm not going to wear that shirt. Maybe I'm pushing the boundaries. But people printed a lot of shirts. But one of the other unique things that happened on that trip was, now we all know there's a lady in the Bahamas. She is flamboyant. She's the fruit lady, but everywhere she goes, you know her. So it was such a delight when we were walking through the airport. I'm not gonna call her name, and her face is turned because I took a photo of the back of her hair. She was more patriotic than us, and she wanted everybody to know that she was going to the inauguration also, and she had a hairstyle with her flag and everything in it. Now I don't know how she fared that day, because what happened that day was, it was a long day, but it was a beautiful day. We had to get up really, really early, and it was freezing on the 20th, 2009. I'm talking about, for Bahamian, 60s freezing. You drop in the 40s, some people are not going to go to work. So I think they said something about it was like 28 degrees. I had to get a whole new wardrobe, because this is what I look like. You could just barely see my eyes, and then I took my Bahamian flag and stick it in my hat. So I don't know how she made it, showing her hairstyle, because there is no way you could go out there without gloves, muffs, hat, muffs, anything you could find, being from the Bahamas. But whatever, the day was beautiful. We got up at about 3 a.m. But of course nobody could drive into it. There was a lot of security protocol and stuff in place, so you had to take the train into Washington, D.C. We got there, and it was like a 3D line, but everything was organized, everything was professional, and we got through. But it was cramped. You were like sat in. But if you attend Junkanoo, then you know what I'm talking about. But it was just plus. I later found out that there was some 1.8 million people across Capitol Hill, all the way from the National Mall, all the way. So somehow in that 1.8 million, I was there. So we went, and it was a lot of people, but it was comfortable. It was almost like when he took his oath, when he did this speech, it was like everybody stood still and listened. It was so, you could see so across the lawn, you could see so many different flags. I think there was, every nation was represented on those grounds in Washington, D.C. that day. So it was even beyond America. People just showed up because they had to be a part of history. And I feel so proud to be a part of history that I was actually there. I did it. I weathered the cold, the long line. I don't know. I think we spent about 12 hours in Washington that day because trying to get back was more chaotic than coming because now people are tired and trying to get down to the train station. But me and my father had a little secret that nobody knew about. He had a string that he had. Oh, I was a daddy's girl. He had a string that he had on his hand that he had on my hand. Because I was taller than he was. So he went, and he was an ex-policeman. So he thought he had to take care of me among everybody. It was about 10 of us in our party. But he never lost sight of me. Never. Even though I was tall in the back of him. We had our little secret attachment. I don't think I've ever said that to anybody. Because he didn't want me to get lost. But so during that time, after everything was over, down on the lawn and we witnessed it, it was a full day. And it was sobering to know that you witnessed something so historical, something that you can't change, you can't take back in time. And something that I would talk about for a very, very long time. And when I got back to work, I actually had people fooled that, well, I never said anything. This picture, they had the day after, like about 2 days after you got over the cold, because I didn't want to go anywhere. We decided to do sightseeing. So one of the places they had set up was a stage room of the Oval Office. In the stage room, there was a picture of President Barack Obama. You were able to sit at the table. So for the longest, when this picture was nice and neat and clean, it actually looked like I met him. Now, I never admitted, I never said anything. I didn't say I was, and I went to Washington, I went to it, so that covered that. But for the longest, I showed this picture and I was like, oh, I went to Washington, I went to the inauguration, this, da, 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 da. I never said I met him, so people just assume, but this was actually just a stage room. So that was a little secret for the longest when I said, seriously, do you really think little old me would have gotten that close to the president? Okay, but anyway, I'm the true traveler that I am. In my little hat box, my mummy's hat, that God rest her dead. Anything on that trip that said Mr. President Barack Obama, I bought. I had to get the books. I read them double sections. And then in my little pocket here, because I told you I like to recycle, this is just a queen size sheet thing. It was perfect for this. I got all of the little memorabilia that I could pick up. I had to go and I had to. It was a must. And I'm keeping them as a keepsake for my great-grandchildren, because my grandchildren have seen them, but they haven't. I'm a fan of the antique show, so I believe in keeping things in its original package, so one day when somebody asks you or you try to sell it, well, this one is broken, but this is one of the coins that, to commemorate this is one of the coins that, this is the only size I could afford, but this is one of the coins. It's still in its container. Somehow I'm going to find a way to repair the box eventually. But this is also another coin. This is another coin. Nothing is open. Everything is sealed in its original form. Now it's not been that long, but it has value to me. And I had a need that I had to, and I was there postcard. I never posted this. I never mailed this to anybody because it was a short trip. But this was the postcard, the witnesses, you were there and everything. So I had to get that. And then there was this $9 bill that they have simulated with his name, his face and everything. It's laminated. And so little stuff like that, I pick up. The little flag you're going to put in your car. We were driving around in the Bahamas with Yes We Can as if we were able to vote. We were all in the hype and the CDs. So anything that was pertaining to the president at that time, I bought it. And then I had to go beyond that. All of the newspapers that came out that week in Washington, I had to get it. Anything that told a story, this is U.S. Today, anything that told a story about the president, his family, I wanted to know everything about it. I just wanted to know. And then, so this is also another one. This is the historical journey of, it was a special edition in the U.S. Today. Like I said, I kept them You know, it's getting old with age, but that's okay. On the anti-child, they'll be able to see it's still in its original form. So I was able to anything that I said that had the president on it. But this one is my rare find. This was actually still there. It was still able, I was able to purchase it, even though it came out in 2008. It's just a couple of, but I didn't even open it. It's sealed, it's the whole story. It's the New York Times Collector's Edition. So this is still here sealed and it's turning brown, but it's okay. It's okay because I now own this and nobody else has a copy. I mean, they have more copies, but I have that copy. Then I was able to get my hand on this. This is a calendar, but this calendar it's a collector's edition calendar. It had all of the freedom rights fighters, people before the president who contributed for civil rights, the civil rights movement. So on dates that I don't have to go to textbook. It's right here and it's on the date. So, and then they have the year when it happened, but it's also like extra pictures of the first family, the first lady and everybody, you know. And then I had to get, of course, you know, Essence did their collector's edition. The Essence magazine, isn't this a beautiful picture? I think everybody had this picture. I think some people framed this picture and put it in their house, and you would think they would actually relate it to these people, to this family. But, you know, it was just a beautiful picture. It was a beautiful picture for a beautiful family. Another one, ebony. So, you know, you got to get ebony, anything pertaining to us of culture. You got to get ebony and you got to get Essence. There's a different take on it. And then, of course, last but not least, this was the calendar. It was supposed to be a regular calendar. So this is me and the president. I smile because I got a kick out of just looking at these and knowing that I was there. So even as we were there, you know, a couple of days later, because it was my father's birthday and it was supposed to be his birthday trip, we also went on tours. You know, we went throughout, you know, I went to Capitol Hill. I saw that. You know, I was able to go to Capitol Hill and take photos of that. It was a nice, one of those nice, relaxing vacation that you had fun with family. It was the first time like I went to the Brazilian restaurant and nobody told me until you turn over there's a little thing on the table. Till you turn it over, they will keep serving you. I wasn't aware of that until late in the game when I could hardly move. Because I just figured we paid so much, so I guess that's why they keep coming around and bringing these different meats and just eating. And someone said, you know, if you don't turn that over, they're going to keep serving you, right? Yeah. At that time, I couldn't move by that time, you know. But my trip to Washington, D.C., my inaugural, for the inauguration, and the one that I called for my inaugural flight. Okay, this is just me, through my eyes, my experience. Entertaining myself during COVID-19 pandemic 2020 lockdown in the Bahamas. Feel free to leave a comment. Be gracious with your comment. Like I said, the music in the background, I do not own the rights to it. I'm not a professional in any way. I'm an amateur at what I'm doing. I'm just having fun. I'm just reliving where I've been, just to not kill the time, but pass time. And I do hope you enjoy, and please join me again when we take another trip somewhere. I don't know, if you want me to take a trip to a special place, I'll let you know if I've been there before. But other than that, thank you very much, and I hope to see you again soon.